Prepare yourself.
Oh, this is the Ninja Troll Digicast.
Hello again and welcome to the Cathedral of Wisdom for the Ninja Troll Digicast, the odor eater in the boot of evil. My name is Tim Dixon. I am joined... Stop it.
Recover.
I am joined by Mike Worth.
The other odor eater.
The other odor eater.
The odor creator.
All right, Mike, give us a look at what we've got coming up today on the Ninja Troll.
Well, today we're going to clip our toenails.
Yes.
And then we're going to clean the shed.
Because foot hygiene is apparently very important to us.
And the shed is great.
Yes.
Well, we got some we're doing part 2 now of Timmy's search for Spock, 3 in a row here of Star Trek. And we're going to investigate the Klingons near his anus.
Oh.
Or Uranus?
Not cool.
Or maybe Jupiter?
Somebody's.
But definitely not near your Venus.
No.
We're going to stay away from your Venus on this episode. And in our movie and TV news, we've got some interesting things about new things that are coming out, some casting news going on. In TV, we've got some things going on, new series that are coming back. We had an amazing Star Wars Rebels trailer.
Oh, nice.
Which introduces the Gray of the Force, a brand new character. Yep, you're going to find out. Yep. And in the comic... Sorry?
I'm intrigued.
I can see, because you interrupted me.
Yeah, well.
Welcome to the Ninja Troll. And then in our comic rack, what do we got going on our comic rack? Anything special?
We've got a lot of... actually, no, we don't have a whole lot, but we've got a possible death of a very important member of the Batman family.
Oh.
So that... we're not going to get into it too much because it just came out this week.
Was it the ant? What was that ant's name on the series?
It was Ace the Bat Hound. Yeah, that was really a real thing.
Robin's Robin.
Yeah. This little bat cockatoo.
His cockatoo. But that's what we got coming up on this stunning rendition of the stirring rendition of the Ninja Troll Digicast. But here is Timmy D first with tidbits.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the things going on around this world that we inhabit. Police in Essex, England, cited a man for driving his DeLorean at 89 miles per hour, which should have been fast enough to propel him through time, at least according to the Back to the Future. And we all know that's true.
Was he arrested in the 50s? Because then it worked.
Obviously. Yeah, it worked. And quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it should not be against the law to go that fast in the DeLorean because you've got to at least try it.
Well, you know if DeLorean's coming back, right? They're supposedly releasing a new car soon.
Are they?
Yeah, or somebody bought it and they're going to do it. You know if they have a dealership, that's what's going to be what everybody does.
Oh, yeah. The test drive, I'm going out.
Ninja Troll buys a car. Here we go.
We need to get that GoFundMe set up for that.
Yeah.
Howard, the culprit wasn't Emmett Doc Brown, but rather Nigel Mills. That's a really perfect British name.
Nigel Mills.
Nigel Mills. He insists he wasn't attempting to go back to 1955 or even 1985, which would be the 30-year target.
Yes.
This time. He says he wasn't trying to time travel. He told The Guardian in England it was 11 a.m. on a Sunday and the road was completely clear. So essentially, he just opened it up. Just
good.
Again, if you're in a DeLorean,
you gotta
go for it.
That's right.
But he purchased his rare vehicle for 22,000 pounds, a steal, as the car is known to be to sell for 30,000 pounds or more. So why did he get it so cheap?
I don't know. Maybe somebody tried it.
It's probably starting to rust. They have issues with them rusting, I think.
Oh, really? What are they made out of?
They're made out of aluminum, I believe.
Aluminium.
Exactly.
That's what he would have said. That's what Nigel would have said.
That's what Nigel would have said.
Run for it, Nigel.
But he takes the DeLorean out a few times each year just to joyride. Again, valid defense as far as I'm concerned. I only do it 3 times a year.
That's it.
Come on. Thankfully for him, no time travel was necessary to beat the speeding charge. The 2 officers who pulled him over failed to appear in court. So his case was thrown out.
Yes.
Perfect.
I love when that happens.
See, he went back in time, rubbed them out, like kept their parents from meeting, so they couldn't show up in court.
At the fish under the sea dance.
Exactly. And I love this story. A legendary black metal artist has been elected into a Norwegian town council against his will. Despite his campaign featuring a photo of him holding a cat, urging people, please don't vote for me. Now, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his first name, so I'm not even going to try. He's known as Fenris in the black metal circuit. He's a member of the group Darkthorn. He will be forced to serve as a backup representative for his local town council in Kolpeden, Norway. The Scandinavians, I swear, they've got some. There's too many consonants in that word. He'll be forced to serve for 4 years after involuntarily getting elected into the position. He had agreed to be on a list of candidates, figuring he wouldn't get enough votes to sit on the council, even using a picture of himself holding his cat, whose name roughly translates to peanut butter, specifically asking people not to vote for him.
You'd think the cat would hurt his black metal crowd.
That's exactly what was my thought.
I think he misunderstood the black metal crowd.
The picture of him with the cat is he's in like a long sleeve T-shirt, and it's like the crazy cat lady picture. Like
his head's leaning in.
Yes,
the cat looks horrified. Like,
at least
save me.
At least it was a black T-shirt. That's what keeps his cred alive.
That's exactly. And his Viking beard,
yeah. Well, no beard.
Oh, he didn't have a beard?
Nope.
Oh, man.
Nope.
Well, who voted for him then? What are these Norwegians thinking of?
Well,
from Kolbotn.
Or something. Following the success of its original Istanbul outpost last spring, the Breaking Bad themed coffee shop, Walter's Coffee Roastery, has opened up stateside. The first U.S. location just debuted in Brooklyn's hip Bushwick neighborhood, which you had some insight on the Bushwick.
I'm just surprised because that used to be like a gang
it was a really crappy neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's where you went for a new Glock and crack.
But now it's
now
hip
it's
and trendy.
lattes and print studios.
Yep. And Walters tries to harness the spirit of chemist / super lab assistant Gail Botticher. Intense coffee geekery on the show in cafe form. We respect coffee and its chemistry, reads the company's website. From extraction and brew temperatures to espresso machine pressure and grinder configuration, we have coffee down to a science. Okay, let's dial it down a notch. This isn't meth you're cooking.
They're trying to open it. They're trying to own it. Yeah, they really are. Yeah. The blue espresso is pretty good.
The blue espresso's got it. They better have.
It's bad for your teeth and your life, but it's good.
Get the meth mouth. The nerd factor doesn't stop at aesthetics though. The shop's espresso machine naturally had to have a PID controller, an algorithmic method of maintaining temperature to the exact degree. Again, let's crank it down a notch.
It's Bushwick now.
Yeah. So that it can crank out shots that are perfectly brewed, chemically speaking. So now this is a really cool story. I like this. This Pennsylvania teen began the school year with an entourage that would rival a rock star. A fleet of more than 16 bikers escorted Sean Mayer to his first day of class at Salisbury High School in Salisbury Township. The 16-year-old has Down syndrome and has been bullied at school in the past. After his family posted on Facebook that they were worried about him starting school this year and getting taunted, a local motorcycle club volunteered and picked the teen up at his home at 6 a.m. to show their support.
With bikes.
Of course.
Neighbors hate him.
Oh, I'm sure. I hadn't thought about that, but all those
love you, Sean, but
there. Yeah. Sean rode on the back of a bike wearing a helmet and vest and arrived at school ready to tackle the day. There, another 100 bikers met him in an incredible show of support. Just before he walked in the building, Sean high-fived his friends who all clearly have his back. The group went on the Rachel Ray show and proved their friendship is as strong as the leather that comprises their jackets. And he got colors too, you said.
He did. Yeah,
that is awesome.
He's repping. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't see any bullying in his immediate future there.
No. Maybe from like a rival biker gang.
Oh,
but
now you're talking.
he's in a whole new world now.
That's right. You've stepped into something else now.
That's right.
All right, those are our tidbits. Let's move into movie and TV news.
Meanwhile, back at the Cathedral of Wisdom, it's the movie and TV news on the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right, so first thing, very exciting, Man of Steel 2 has been confirmed. So let's see. So a report from a little over a month ago indicated that the official sequel to 2013's Man of Steel was in active development over Warner Brothers. Now we've received confirmation of the new Superman outing, courtesy of Henry Cavill's agent, Danny Garcia, who let it slip that the actor is prepping for another standalone film. Yeah, what's that going to be?
Yeah, let it slip.
Yeah,
sure.
So obviously this is going to be staked out sort of past Justice League. And we're also getting reports that one of these yet to be named movies will be Man of Steel, and then of course Ben Affleck's Batman, solo Batman. So that should be really exciting to have another standalone Man of Steel. Hopefully you like it. That would be great.
I wonder what they'll call it. Man of Tomorrow?
Could be. Forever. Because
he's got he's got several nicknames that he's been known by. The Man of Tomorrow, Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would stick with that kind of theme that started with Man of Steel, and see what they would continue with that, or whether they would come up with a completely new name.
I just hope Nuclear Man is in this one.
Oh my lord!
And just ruin the franchise.
That would be bad. Yeah.
The quest for peace.
Yikes.
Yeah.
The quest for those awesome fingernails he had.
Oh, I know. Remember that? Yeah. Oh man. He looked like Dave Coverdale, like became a superhero.
He definitely looked like a
He's
hair
like
metal
the still of the night. He's always in mid high range power ballad high note. Okay, this one's cool. Margot Robbie has officially signed a first look deal with Warner Brothers, creating a partnership with the studio to develop her own projects, including a Suicide Squad spinoff, which will probably be her movie. Which will probably be a Joker Harley type of thing, which I'm excited. Look, I loved it. I'm still excited about Suicide Squad.
I'm interested. What is a first look deal? What does that exactly mean?
Maybe she gets first refusal on
I would say
projects.
That kind of goes without saying. I mean, because she's the it girl.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
Really?
Because she came off of a lot of people were talking about her at A Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
And then she went right into Suicide Squad, and there was something else she just did. I can't remember.
I don't know
what it is, but so she's her name is really big in Hollywood right now.
Well, I think all but her Brooklyn accent, she did a great job. I mean, I'm tuned to that, so yes.
Puddin'.
Cool.
Did she call anybody Puddin' in the movie?
She did.
I still haven't seen it.
You need to. Yeah, okay. You just need to do it. According to The Hollywood Reporter, this deal would create the opportunity for Robbie to executive produce the previously announced standalone Harley movie, and Robbie alluded to pushing to get the film made in an interview earlier this year. So far, the film will be set in the extended DC universe, but it will not be a direct sequel to the $700 million earning Suicide Squad. Rumors surfaced earlier that this year that if Harley Quinn's standalone film got made, it would introduce Batgirl and the Birds of Prey.
That would be cool.
So there's no more details on that other than that Robbie is in the driver's seat.
Cool.
Which is cool. All right, this is a fun one, and I posted this up on the Facebook page. The minds behind 8-bit movie trailers have taken a last crack at the official Justice League footage that debuted during Comic-Con International this year. This remix rather faithfully takes the scenes from the trailer and adapts them to an old-school arcade format. And the dialogue is all written because it pops up. But it matches.
So it's like little word balloons?
Exactly, from old games. When people spoke, you had to have the close-up with their little speech because you couldn't tell if that little rectangle was moving and putting out phonemes. So anyway, it's virtually a shot-for-shot remake of the trailer.
Cool.
It's up on the Facebook page. It's worth a few minutes. Check it out. This is a little bit about some history, but Gremlins director, right, the old school movie from the 80s, Joe Dante, has had a long and illustrious career in film and television, but he's certainly walked away from a potential feather in his cap by turning down a proposed Batman movie in the early 80s.
Early 80s? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And in the career-spanning interview at the Psycho Psychotronic Cinema blog, Dante talked about the Batman movie that never was, written by James Bond veteran Tom Mankiewicz of Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun. But here's the deal. He was actually going to cast John Lithgow as the Joker.
Wow.
And that's why the story is amazing, is because imagine John Lithgow as a Joker.
Yeah.
And then
That could
think
be
about him on
interesting.
like Third Rock.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he would have been good.
Yeah, I mean, because up until Third Rock, John Lithgow had been exclusively like a dramatic actor.
Yeah, right. And he was in some sci-fi stuff, I feel like.
Probably, yeah.
So he would have, I think, done.
I think
pretty
he could have
well.
done an incredible job. Yeah, that would be really interesting. I would like to see that.
And it wasn't that crazy to conceive a Batman film because we had Superman already in the
Yeah,
theaters. by then.
78 was the
first one,
Superman
right?
motion picture. Yeah,
So not so crazy.
yeah.
Director Zack Snyder has tweeted out an image from the Justice League set of Ben Affleck's tactical bat suit, which is going to make its debut in the film. He looks just like Owlman.
Does he have the eyes on the top of it?
No, I didn't see that.
That's the old school Owlman.
Oh, right,
And
right.
The
On
crazy wacky eyes on the top.
Well, I guess then, what was the Watchman?
Night Owl.
Night Owl. That's who. Yeah. So he
Oh,
looks
so he
very
looks
much like Night Owl.
Okay.
Almost verbatim, frankly. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Is that from the Watchmen?"
Yeah.
Except he's not like brownish. He's black
Yeah.
and gray. So, some great Star Wars news. Adam Driver, right, better known as Kylo Ren, has given fans some hints about the mysterious plot of Star Wars Episode 8, set to be released on December 15th, 2017. It's great, Driver said of the script in an interview with Collider. It's similar to how The Empire Strikes Back has a different tone.
Oh.
For that, people always go, "Ooh, it's dark." But yeah, we don't know if it necessarily is. He's also quoted, "It's just different in tone in a way that I think is great and necessary, but also very clear," Driver said. And he's not dumbing anything down for someone, and that it's going to be a really fun role for him to play as Kylo Ren. And let's see here, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing really amazing about this. But Episode 8 will arrive next year following the release of Rogue One, which will come out this December, which is fantastic. So, this is great. Valiant is finally going to go to the movies.
They've been talking about this for a good while, but it's going to be interesting to see.
And that's right. They were going to do a Harbinger Wars original idea that had come out, and maybe even Bloodshot. But now we're looking at maybe Ninjak.
Okay, so Ninjak's going to be first. Okay.
Yes. And let's see, it's going to be a part of a 5-picture deal with Sony. So Ninjak will be in there. We'll probably get Bloodshot, most likely Harbinger. But they're going to totally blow it out. And I wonder, what kind of star power they're going to get behind them.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a formula now to sort of dialogue with as far as making comic book movies. And they, I think, have an opportunity to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So that could be very interesting. A Stan Lee life movie is coming out, and it's been said to be in a 70s action film style.
Nice.
So it'll be a lot of close-ups on some bell bottoms and big hair, and slide across the hood of the car.
It's like Starsky and Hutch.
Exactly. Some freeze frames like do-do-do-do-do.
Kirby and Lee as Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, that's right. Jack, we need more pages. Shut up, Stan. Go get me coffee. That's how it really was. So move over, Wolverine. Stan Lee is going to be Fox's latest action hero. So it's Fox.
Oh.
According to the Hollywood Reporter, Fox has acquired the rights to Lee's life story with plans to adapt it to an action-adventure film along the lines of Kingsman, The Secret Service. In the film, Lee will be a hero with an alter ego, much like his many Marvel creations. That is to say, Fox's upcoming Stan Lee film won't be a biopic. Lee's role in the movie has been described as akin to Roger Moore's 007, which implies plenty of action, one-liners, and flirting with women. The film will take place in the 70s, and Lee is best known for all his wonderful creations. And, this amazing film should be coming to theaters soon.
That's going to be interesting.
And with Fox owning X-Men, Fantastic Four, and
that'll be
right,
interesting. How doing that, will they be able to mention or show any of the other characters?
That's a good question.
Could they even mention Spider-Man?
Well, they have deal already between Marvel, Sony, so I wonder if maybe they'll. But this is Fox, so this is completely crossing the line again. Fox hasn't mingled yet with other things.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, because it would be one thing to have, Spider-Man or Thor or something like that as a character, but can you even mention the fact that they're working on the Thor comic book?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
part of the story. It's pretty critical.
Yeah, but if somebody else owns the rights, the movie rights for it, can you even do that? I mean, that is a question for lawyers sitting in a big conference room deciding all this stuff.
Okay, well,
but
hopefully
that's
let
not
us
us.
Well, maybe they'll beat around the bush and be like, Arachnid Man is your greatest creation.
Yeah, if they can't do it, then I'm sure there'll be plenty of jokes like that. Yeah,
totally. Or they'll show like reject ideas.
Yeah.
Or it'll end with them creating the ultimate list of characters. So, all right, let's transition to TV news. So, all right, so we're getting a lot of great Arrow stuff coming out. A few action-packed trailers. Yeah, everything comes back
October
4th. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
First week of October, so we're, 2 weeks away?
Just about.
Yep. A little over 2 weeks.
And we're going to get everything, right? Or what won't premiere that week?
I believe it's Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, then the next Monday, Supergirl.
Okay. Why are they doing that?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
That's weird.
I'm not sure.
All right. Maybe they need one more week. Or they give us the Monday off. They prime us so we have 3 nights of being glued. And then 4, it's like, all right, we'll build it up.
We got to work up to it.
That's right. Nice. But there's a really creepy villain on the show that we looked at on that trailer before, and he's like a hooded, masked, masked dude.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Libra.
Oh Lord.
Right, who came back in Final Crisis.
It's not that far away from what he looked like.
Right? I mean, he's like we were saying maybe he's Malcolm Merlin or something like.
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, Merlin's always hanging around. They just to drop in and provide plot details, and then
blend into the shadows.
Disappear in the shadows. Yeah.
Oh, and stop doing that.
I have to mention. Last week we were talking about Luke Cage, and I couldn't remember the name of the band that the episode titles are all names of songs by a rap group, and it was Gangstar.
Oh, okay.
And, Mr. O on YouTube made a comment and to let me know what
those were.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Gangstar is like Talib Kweli and who's the other guy?
I'm not sure.
Not Common. I'm forgetting now. They were real big in the 90s.
It was an East Coast hip hop duo of MC Guru and DJ
Guru.
Premier.
Oh, right. Okay. And Guru's passed away now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Correct.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad then that at least, right, because Cage was all 70s and stuff, and blaxploitation, you know, Isaac Hayes and Curtis Mayfield, right? And we're going to get hip hop now, which is fantastic. But speaking of which, back to this idea of Arrow.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. They're reforming a new team, so we're seeing Thea is sort of back in action. It looks like Ollie's giving people a lot of lessons. We're going to get Slack Canary, who is hesitant.
Who I don't know if she's going to be off the bat called Artemis, but that's what she's
going
towards. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
she looks like she's got shoe polish rubbed on her face because she needs to get a mask that actually looks good.
Right. Or what's her name from Furiosa from Fury Road. Yeah. The gas on her face. But the new team looks a little ragtag, and then there's newer, bigger threats coming to Star City, and I guess Dark is dead. So we'll see sort of what goes on from here.
Yeah.
But
And we
hey,
got Wild Dog.
and Wild Dog, right? Who looks great? He looks
does.
like Casey Jones got beat up. But I'm okay. I was a little worried about Arrow. Like, it's kind of fading for me as far as the shows go. It was the weakest one last season. It's looking like it's going to come back with a vengeance.
I'm hoping it does. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And they didn't show him, but that we also will get Vigilante.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then of course Mr. Terrific, who failed the salmon ladder. That's one of the funniest parts of the trailer.
When he falls off the salmon and he's trying to do it. And I didn't realize. I mean, they may have mentioned it, and I just missed it before. But he is a Olympic athlete. I didn't realize that.
That's right. But I wonder, is it like curling or something?
Maybe.
It's certainly not the salmon ladder. He's good at running or something. I mean, because it didn't look like he was upper body strength.
Yeah, but salmon ladder is pretty intense.
Oh my God.
So
yeah.
I know I couldn't do it.
I would throw up on myself.
Yeah. A lot.
Staying in the Berlanti verse, the new Flash synopsis that's coming out sort of hints at a date with Iris. So the first episode is what would you well, it's not Flashpoint, but it's the new first episode. But what would you sacrifice to have everything you ever wanted? Barry is living his dream life. His parents are alive. He's asked Iris West on a date, and he can finally be a normal guy, as normal as a guy can be in Central City, having another speedster, Kid Flash, running around saving the city. When Barry starts forgetting parts of his old life, the Reverse Flash, who comes back, right, Matt Letcher, taunts his nemesis and tells him that there will be serious repercussions for Barry and the ones he loves if he continues to live in this alternate universe. In addition to Barry losing his memories, his powers will also start to fade because he's not technically the Flash anymore.
Yeah.
But when disaster strikes, Barry must decide if he wants to continue to live in this world as Barry Allen or return to his universe as the Flash. So I'm a little bummed they're going to do Flashpoint so quickly.
Yeah.
And we might not get all of the great characters that are in Flashpoint.
Yeah. I hope they don't resolve it too quickly. That's the scene with Reverse Flash is very reminiscent of Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh,
when he's basically
the DC animated.
He's calling him out and saying, you sacrificed everybody's well-being just for you didn't go back in time and save JFK.
Right.
You didn't go back in time and stop Hitler before he did anything. You went back and saved your mommy because you missed her. Now who's the villain?
And that's exactly what is really Reverse Flash's plan, right? Is to go destroy Barry,
Yeah.
So that's right. What's the difference between the two of them? Yeah. One bad day.
That's right. That's right.
So this is some cool news from Supergirl. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star Ditchen Lockman. Did I get that right? Ditchen?
Sure.
Dyken Lackman, maybe, is ready to take her chance on Supergirl. According to comicbook.com, Lockman has signed on to play Roulette, who runs an underground alien fight club in National City, and she is eager to get Supergirl in the ring. Dang.
Fight Club. Wow. It's awesome.
So Lockman's Roulette was spotted in a few new set photos where she appeared with Supergirl's sister, Alex Danvers, and Maggie Sawyer. So that'll be cool. Might have a little crossover between the universes.
Now I realize who I had to Google her. She played Sky's Inhuman mother.
Okay.
So
and is she dead on the show? Is
Yes.
that why she's able to exit?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because that'd be weird if she was.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but look, what's his name? Not Chris Pine. Captain America was also Human Torch.
Yeah.
And
Chris Evans. Yeah.
Chris Evans. Yeah. So that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Could happen.
Anybody could happen to anybody.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk quickly about Daredevil, because most viewers would likely agree that one of the highlights of the first season was Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk.
And second.
That's true. Yes, and second season too. Yeah. The primary antagonist for Charlie Cox's Man Without Fear in the first season, he briefly returned for the second season. However, D'Onofrio has teased that this may not be the last we see of Kingpin.
I hope not. Yeah, I think it would be perfect for him to be, at the very least, a part of the Defenders that like gets all of them together.
Okay.
like dealing with him.
Yeah, as a big baddie.
Yeah.
Because that would be enough of a threat
Oh yeah.
so far, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I went back. I still haven't finished Daredevil season 2. But I finally was like, okay, I got to watch it.
I haven't either. I didn't even know he came back for the second season.
Oops, sorry. He's when
D
Frank
for disappointment.
when
That's what Timmy
Frank
D.
goes to jail, he's in the jail with him.
Oh, I did see that. I
Yeah,
did see that.
so you
Right.
saw that
and he
part,
pulls
yeah.
him aside and he's like, hey, Frank,
And
somebody
he-
with your talents.
Yeah, and he gets him to take his big rival out, but then sets him up to be trapped in a cell block with probably like 20, 25 other guys that are going to take him out, and he kills them all.
That's right.
It was just
Right. He's all
wow.
covered with blood
Oh,
at the end
yeah.
and everything, and then they like don't even know what to do with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Because he should be dead after
oh,
that.
absolutely. But yeah, he was definitely a highlight of the show.
Well, here's some more insight on that because your speculation is pretty correct.
Mm-hmm.
With Daredevil set to appear alongside Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist on The Defenders, followed by a third season of his own series,
Sweet.
it's a pretty good bet that Fisk will be back.
Yeah.
D'Onofrio knows if and when the character will return, but he's just not saying yet.
Oh, he's a cagey one.
So, yeah,
He's a sneaky one.
he sure is.
Shenanigans.
All right, a little bit here about Star Wars Rebels because this was one of the best trailers I think I've ever seen,
Yeah.
and it's got me so excited. I need Disney XD for this now.
That was the thing last year. I've never watched Rebels, but I watched that trailer and I'm like, holy crap! This looks really
show.
good.
It's a really good show, which has like Kanan and Ezra as our main Jedi. So an amazing trailer, which I posted on the Facebook page, so go check it out, reveals a new character named Bendu, a Force wielder who prides himself on being in the middle of good and evil, Jedi and Sith. When he arrives, Kanan is talking to him. He says that you're in this peaceful place, but you are like a storm raging, right, with your presence. And he says, and I also sense you carry conflict with you. And he does. He pulls out something called a Sith holocron, which is an object that seems to give the Sith their power in some way, shape, or form. It's something I've never heard of.
The
It's like a
Jedi's
triangle.
the Jedi's use holocrons, and I think it's like a data storage device.
Okay.
Well,
Bendu like takes it from him, and Kanan's like, "Careful!" And he like separates it. He's a super Force wielder.
there are artifacts used by both the Jedi and the Sith that contain ancient lessons or valuable information in a holographic form.
Cool.
So that's what's in the Jedi archives.
Oh.
The Jedi temples, they're all holocrons holding the ancient knowledge.
So that's
that
why
they've
everybody's trying to
gathered.
get to this temple.
Yep.
Not that it's just a spiritual place. It has data. Oh, that's really good to know.
And they could only be activated and used through the power of the Force.
Well,
There
yeah,
you
Bendu
go.
just cracks it open.
Yeah.
So Kanan's encounter with Bendu looks to directly address the events of the Season 2 finale, which saw his apprentice Ezra slowly succumbing to the dark side of the Force and at the hands of Darth Maul. In the finale, Ezra was finally able to open a Sith holocron, a device used by the Sith to store information only accessible to those who wield the dark side of the Force. But because Bendu is gray, he's able to do it.
You could probably open both of them.
Yeah.
Jedi or Sith.
No doubt. So this is set to premiere September 24th, 8:30 p.m. on Disney XD.
Wow.
I might get Sling as a service, and Disney XD is listed on there, and I might just do it for that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that could work.
Anyhow. All right, let's see here. All right, this is some bad news about the live-action Star Wars television series. It's probably not going to happen. So the Star Wars franchise is chugging along for Lucasfilm and parent company Disney, but Disney Media Network's co-chairman and Disney ABC television president Ben Sherwood cautions fans not to get their hopes up about a live-action television series.
I don't know if I have a problem with that. I mean, I think that would be just a little too much.
I mean,
We've got a Star Wars movie every year for the foreseeable future.
And we have one television series that's going, right? Clone Wars is over.
Yeah.
I think
it is over.
But that's been on forever now. I mean, I can't remember. Like Clone Wars came out in the 2000s, something in the double aughts.
Yeah, I think it might be a little too much.
Well, he says here they have a lot of movies to make between now and then. While this doesn't close the door entirely on a live-action series, it does suggest that its development is a fair way off, as the Star Wars franchise has full production slate at the moment until 2020.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey, this says here episodes 8 and 9 set for 17 and 19 respectively, and the anthology films about Han Solo and Boba Fett dropping in 2018 and 2020.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds great. This is cool. Sci-Fi has reportedly ordered a pilot based on Grant Morrison and Derek Robertson's 4-issue image comic series Happy, which I don't know the synopsis for.
I don't know.
But people are pretty excited. Universal Cable Productions is producing the project. According to Deadline, Morrison and Crank writer-director Brian Taylor are writing the Happy pilot. Neil Moritz, Pavan Shetty, and Toby Jaffe of original film The Fast and the Furious, alongside Morrison and Taylor, will executive produce. And that looks pretty exciting. All right.
Interesting.
And to round out our movie and TV news, we're going to have a little back and forth here with Timmy D, since this is Star Trek month.
It is
for us. We're going to read from Comic Book Resources from their wonderful list section, 11 things we want from the new mission.
Oh, they did also announce the release date for Star Trek Discovery has been pushed to May.
Oh, of 2018 or 2017?
17, yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So it's been pushed back just a couple months.
Awesome. So we'll finish school here, and then that's what I'm doing for the month of May.
There you go.
All right, perfect. All right, here we go. Number 11, things we want to see in the new show. And Timmy, you're going to give us a Julius Caesar yay or nay.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. In your best Dom DeLuise. Okay, so the first thing that we want to have back, the Constitution class ship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would really love to see that, because this again is set right before
the original
series. So it would be the Enterprise wasn't the first Constitution class. Obviously, the Constitution was. So yeah, it would be great to have the old school ship, because I've always loved that design.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with that one. That's a thumbs up.
That's a good one. Love it. Okay, the next one, number 10, the loneliest number. So
I'm sorry. One?
Yes, being number one. Yes. So the original number one, Majel Barrett from Star Trek's first episode, The Cage.
Yes, they're saying that they may have enough of her voice recorded for her to be the computer voice as well.
Well, like she was on.
She was on all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. But she's passed away now.
Right.
But they're saying they may have enough of her voice track just
put that together
over the different series to be able to put that together for her to still be the voice of the computer.
I bet they could.
That would be cool.
Make the fill in. And with the technology we have, I mean, they can. Yeah. They made Beatles records after some of them.
That would be cool.
They can definitely do that. All right, number 9. Let's see. So the Enterprise cast as old people.
Oh yeah, that would actually be like Archer. That would be
T'Pol, who would certainly be alive, right, at that stage, barring nothing catastrophic happened to her.
Yeah, I'll have to look up the actual dates that are the years that it covered. Yeah.
So the reason they say this is that
it would connect because that's a kind of a ongoing thing. You have the first episode of a new series. You have a connecting tissue.
Like Sarek, Spock's dad, was on TNG a bunch of times.
Yeah, and when they started DS9, it started on the Enterprise.
Right.
Then same thing with Voyager. They left from DS9, so it was a connecting thing there.
From show to show. Oh, I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, So 2254 is roughly around when the Enterprise came to be. Is that right? In time. But so they're saying here, Enterprise lore told us that Jonathan Archer died in 2245, exactly one day after attending the launch of the NCC 1701.
Oh, okay.
So we won't have quantum leap.
Yeah, yeah. It won't. I mean, so that would be because Kirk wasn't the first captain.
No.
Theoretically, we could have the Enterprise out there with Robert April or Christopher Pike.
That's right.
In command at the same time this show's going on.
And they're saying that, T'Pol would be.
Yeah.
Totally
there. She
As
could
a
look
Vulcan.
exactly the same. Because Vulcans don't age that fast. So she wouldn't have to be in prosthetics much at all.
Right.
She could still basically look exactly the same.
I think like Sarek too, like he just was old and it worked.
He was always old. Yeah, he was born old.
He was born. Okay, number 8, and you're gonna have to help me with this, but Amanda Grayson.
Spock's mom.
Oh, okay. So
that would make sense.
she would definitely be around right at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, let's see. Well, I don't know. Winona Ryder played her in the Star Trek
Yes,
09
in the movie.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great.
Before Stranger Things.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't that crazy in the first one.
It's true.
Okay, so new colonizations. So like Yanis 6's Pergium facility from the Star Trek episode Devil in the Dark.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting to see stuff we've already seen, but like when they're colonizing or they're finding this planet.
And they go show up at the colony later, right, to check in.
Yeah.
So while the aforementioned Tarsus colony became infamous for the actions of Kodos the Executioner,
yeah.
that may be
that would be because Kirk was a boy then. So yeah, that could definitely, they could show up. They could be one of the ships that show up to rescue the colonist after it happened. Yeah.
So all this aforementioned lore.
You could see they could cast somebody as a young James Kirk. And he could, because he was one of the colonists, obviously, that survived. So that would definitely show up. So
cool.
It'd be another connective tissue into the Star Trek timeline.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that in the first movie when he was young? Like was that on Earth?
That was
when he was driving through the desert.
Yeah, they really ignored that in the reboot.
In the reboot, okay.
But yeah, he didn't live on Earth the whole time. He was on that colony.
Okay.
Was it Tarsus?
Yeah, Tarsus colony.
Okay.
Yeah, with Kodos. And then here, let's see. For example, Yanis 6's Pergium prospectors or Mud's
women. Yeah.
Love-starved customers.
Yeah, that's where they were going when they needed dilithium. That was a dilithium mine, but they wanted wives.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Dilithium ladies.
Yeah. No, you get the dilithium, we get the ladies.
You get the ladies, yeah. All right, number 6, we need omnipotent aliens back, right? When you think about like Q, Organians, right? They shed their physical bodies in the episode Errand of Mercy from the original series.
We'll talk about them when we get to the Klingon showcase.
Oh, nice.
They I agree with that. I think you need villains that are not just on the level with like the Klingons.
That's like that's 1-to-1.
It's 1-to-1. Romulans 1-to-1.
Yeah.
You need something like the Organians. There's nothing you can do to
except
them.
Play their game.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So
the list here of those are the Organians, the Melkot, a character named Apollo, the Excalbians, and the Metrons. Each tested the Enterprise crew in various ways, while you had Q and TNG.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had, I guess Charlie X maybe?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, he was a human raised with on a planet that had a species. So he was taught how to do some of that stuff, but he wasn't actually of that species.
Okay, he's just a human.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely want those back.
Yes.
God. This says animated illusions. So when Star Trek returned to TV in 73 and 74 as the animated series, it was able to depict more unusual alien life, including a couple of crew members. Lieutenant Arix was an Edu helmsman, and he played this like creepy guitar, and he had 4 arms.
Wow.
And 3 legs. And Lieutenant Emrys was a Caton communications officer who looked like a humanoid cat. So,
oh yeah,
I guess they want to try and bring in some of this stuff.
Yeah, why not? You can do it now. That's so.
Yeah, and they're saying even when DC relaunched the Star Trek comic in '89, that they did a bunch of that stuff as well. A ton of characters. Yeah, so that we want live action versions of those characters. That would be really great. Okay, Romulan spies.
That would be interesting. That would, I mean, I don't think we have to have it, but it would be interesting to see Romulans try. At this point, they wouldn't know that Romulans resembled Vulcans.
Right.
So you could have a Romulan passing himself off as a Vulcan.
Right. Because they're akin, aren't they? Aren't they from the same?
Yeah, they left Vulcan before they got rid of emotion and gave their basically their entire society and their minds to logic. So that's why they're warlike. That's what the Vulcans used to be. The Romulans were like a splinter group that left.
Okay. And
then the Vulcans that were still on Vulcan decided to follow the teachings of Sarek. No, Sarek is Spock's dad.
Yeah. I don't know who's the like super like hippie
cult
leader Vulcan.
Surak, who got them to purge all emotion and just adopt logic.
Cool. This might be for another time, but like, what is the Dark Romulans that live on Remus?
Yeah, I don't know. They were only really got into that movie, in the movie. Yeah. But because it's the Romulans, which is based off Romans. You have, instead of the Roman twins Romulus and Remus, you have twin planets.
Right. With 2 races Romulus or 2 versions.
Yeah.
Are Remans Romulans though? I thought they were, but they're just
technically
darker.
They're part of the Romulan Star Empire.
But they're a different race.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they look like Nosferatus. Like
they did. Yeah, they definitely looked
kind of rolling around.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what. Let me search Memory Alpha for the Remans while you're reading.
Okay.
The next one, I'll see if.
Okay, so this one's kind of funny. The seedy side of the galaxy. So, like the unnamed hedonist in the Telosian-induced cage fantasy.
Yeah, the Orion slavers. That's a good point. That was the thing that Gene Roddenberry wanted to show, just the good side. That's why you only got that, like in the original series and the beginning of the Next Generation. Mm-hmm. Everything was the utopian. We don't even worry about money. We don't do this and all this stuff, because that's what he wanted to focus on, is the positive future that humans could have. Then later, after he had less of a hand in it, and then when he passed away, they started kind of branching out, and you got the like you said, the seedier side of the galaxy. But yeah, that was shown in the pilot, was the Orion slavers. Mm-hmm. So obviously you have a bad side there, because they're slave girls. Mm-hmm. And
that's where we get the Green Lady.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, she's an Orion slave girl. So yeah, that would be nice to see, to kind of like the Harry Mudd.
Yeah,
he's straight up con man the entire time. So there's obviously people out there who are worried about economics, and they're worried about credits and trying to
scheme
to scheme and earn money.
I guess this was an interesting tidbit, but In the original script of The City on the Edge of Forever, Gene Roddenberry nixed Harlan Ellison's subplot of a drug-dealing Enterprise crewman.
Yes. Harlan Ellison's original script for City on the Edge of Forever bared very little resemblance to what actually aired. Because they said not only was it would have to be like a 3-hour, like a 3-part episode because it was so long, it would have cost way too much money to shoot. But yeah, he did have a part in there where because McCoy was accidentally injected with the drug that made him go crazy and beam down and jump into the time portal. That was originally, it was a crewman that was hopped up on drugs, voluntarily hopped up on drugs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they were like, hey, yeah, we're not doing that. I do have information now on the Remans.
The Remans? Yeah, let's hear it.
They were the slave labor caste of the Romulan people.
Okay.
So.
And they had like mines and stuff on their planet.
Yes. The Remans live on the dark side of Remus, which is a tidally locked planet. So it has a dark side.
Like the moon.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next one. # bring back Guinan.
That would be interesting.
Would she be alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because her race has been around a long time. They never really exactly lay it out how old she is. But the weird thing would be, would you recast or would you? Because Whoopi is obviously older now.
Yeah.
Unless you came up with some kind of weird thing that, like, she regenerated, or I mean, I don't know. You could. But again, that's one of the things that, like, you could include people like that have such a long
El-Orians?
El-Orians, yeah, have such long lifespans. You could include them and have them show up.
So it says here, judging by a tweet by, let's see, who was this? Brian Fuller. Let's see. He isn't opposed to revisiting or pre-visiting Q's nemesis and Jean-Luc Picard's ageless bartender. In the 19th century, she was on Earth hiding from her father, and by the 22nd century, she had adopted another name, at least according to Q. While El-Orians are... So
the 19th century, she was on Earth. Wow.
Being Victorian. While El-Orians are a famous race of listeners, Guinan is also tuned into how the universe should be, which is helpful if you're ever caught in a particularly dark timeline. But this is the important part. The El-Orian homeworld was also destroyed by the Borg, so Guinan's a refugee who knows just how bad the galaxy can get.
So how did she get from was it the Delta Quadrant that the Borg were in?
I suppose,
yes.
Yeah.
It was the Delta Quadrant. And so how did she get from the Delta Quadrant to Earth?
To the Alpha Quadrant, right? Where Earth is?
Yeah.
And then on board the Enterprise.
Yeah, later.
Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing.
Hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
She should put out a book. Yeah.
That's right. Don't panic.
Yeah. Okay, so another reference to the cage is, can we break finally the time barrier?
Oh,
break warp barrier to go past factor 10.
Yeah. That actually, I don't think they ever broke in any of the shows. I don't think they ever.
Well, they tried to in motion picture.
Well, they said
when they went so fast.
Yeah. That was they created a wormhole because their engines weren't.
Was that where they all stretched?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they weren't, the engines weren't calibrated properly. That's what they caused a wormhole, and that's what. So they had to be broken out of it. So.
Well, Timmy, that is the list.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones on there.
See. I mean, is there anything that you think of before we end this segment that like would really make Star Trek Discovery like really amazing?
I think the fact that we're getting another Star Trek show, right there, is I'm ready. I'm signed on. I'm ready to go. I mean, I think, like I said, and I've said this many times on the show, I think Star Trek is something that lends itself better to an episodic
to TV,
to a TV or an episodic nature than it does to movies. So I'm excited that we're going to have another show, and I think I'm really excited and ready to see what they do. So, and it's interesting, like just like this, it's a prequel, but just barely. So we could get a little crossover into things in the original series. And if it continues
Love
for a
that.
while, they could hear about Kirk just took command of the Enterprise, or something like that, or something that they did in the original 5-year mission, or even talking about the fact that the Enterprise is going on a 5-year mission now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the first, supposed to be the first deep space prolonged mission. Because otherwise it was like you would go somewhere and then you'd come back to Earth, or you'd go here, there. But this was a deep space exploration mission that was specifically set to be long term.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm really interested with what they're going to do. I'm really looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, and I hope some of the things set up in Enterprise too can maybe flow over. Like I'm now interested to go watch Enterprise a little bit more, sort of get back into what they sort of set up.
Yeah.
And then and see where that goes. Well, anyway, Timmy, thank you so much. This has been our movie and TV news and our top 11 things that we want to see in Star Trek Discovery.
All right. Well, coming up, we're going to take a spin of the comic rack.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Show your allegiance to the Ninja Troll by following us on social media. On Facebook at facebook.com/Ninja Troll Digicast. On Twitter at Ninja Troll Show. On Instagram at Ninja Troll Digicast. And find us on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Ninja Troll Digicast.
What have you done with those plans?
Or you can always contact us at ninjatroll@digitaltuxedo.com. You should tend to it quickly.
I hope so, Commander, for your sake. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am.
I'm Cully Hamner, artist of The Question in Red, and you're listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right, welcome back to the Ninja Troll Digicast, and we've got to talk about where I will be tomorrow on September 17th, because we're recording this Friday, September 16th. I will be. Yeah, see, that's what they have me here for. Tomorrow I will be at the Marion Comic-Con at McDowell High School in Marion, North Carolina. If you want to check out their Facebook page, just get on Facebook and search Marion Comic-Con. And you can pull up all the information there. This is the same people who did the Shelby Comic-Con a couple months ago.
Cool. And you were at that one?
I was at that one, and it was great. They really went above and beyond to promote this thing and get people in there. It was a great crowd. You're never quite sure what to expect for a Comic-Con that's in a smaller town, but they did a great job getting a great crowd. So I'm looking forward to this tomorrow. It looks like Herbie the Love Bug is going to be there.
Oh, nice. Is that part of that, like those guys who bring the classic cars, like the
I don't know.
Blues Brothers car?
I've never seen it there with them before, but maybe this is like a new acquisition that they've made. But yeah, there's a lot of local businesses have supported this and sponsored this event. So they're obviously going out of the way to get into the community and get people behind it and let people know that this is going on. And it's really cool. Again, like I said, for a smaller town like this, there's not a lot of, I grew up out in a rural area, so I know there's not a whole lot of stuff like this going on, that if you want to do stuff like this, you usually have to drive to Charlotte or something like they're a larger town.
Greensboro, yeah.
Yeah. And so when stuff like this is brought to town, it's great to see businesses getting behind it and going, okay, this is really cool, that something really cool that's going on in our town. Let's support it.
Right.
And so it's really cool. And like I said, this group went above and beyond at Shelby as far as I'm concerned. They put on a great show. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow and have another great show. So Nice. Emma's going with me.
Nice.
Again, she's not going to cosplay.
What's going to be her cosplay? Oh.
She's
got school going on.
Yeah, she's 3 weeks into her high school career. Oof. And so actually last night, for the first time since she started, she was done with her homework before 7 o'clock. Whoa. All the rest of the time, it was like right up to 10 o'clock. It's like, okay, I'm done with homework. Go to bed.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
you can do.
exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I just
Yeah.
posted the link to it, Marion Comic Con, right on
Sweet.
the Ninja Troll Facebook page, so
Sweet.
y'all can check
yeah,
that out.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, if you're in the area or around there, come out and check us out. Look for the Kapow Comic Art table. That's where I'll be at. And I'm sure Emma will be running around taking pictures and doing all. I think she is going to wear the Jay Garrick helmet that she made me.
Oh.
Because it fits her way better than it does me.
Yeah, your dome ain't right.
Yeah, well, she measured it on her own head when she made it. Because she couldn't.
It's like, well, I am my daddy's daughter, so
she wanted it to be a surprise, and she didn't want to go, hey, can I measure your head? So that would have been a little odd. So we're taking that. She'll probably be wearing that. So,
awesome.
But yeah, we always have a blast at these things. So I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be nice to get up there and enjoy the day. So
yeah.
So if you're in the Marion area, come out and see the Marion Comic-Con tomorrow. Now let's take a spin of the comic rack.
Meanwhile, back at the Cathedral of Wisdom, it's time for the comic rack. Hey, nice rack.
Knock it off, perv.
No, it's the latest news from the enormous world of comics. Right here on the Ninja Troll Digicast.
All right, first thing, Marvel has announced Monsters Unleashed is going to be a limited series that will hit comic stores in January and will combine some of the biggest monsters in the Marvel Universe against almost every hero. So we're talking like Fing Fang Foom.
Oh.
Yeah, like the big.
So like beasts.
Yes, like the ones that Kirby used to do. He used to love doing like almost like the Ray Harryhausen monster movie kind of monsters.
Mythological
exactly.
things. Like Fing Fang Foom is a fireball dragon, Chinese fireball dragon.
Yeah.
What else?
They even said that it's not just going to be villains. Groot will be in it as well.
What about like Thunderbolt's dog? Or no, Black Bolt's dog, who has like the little tuning fork on his...
Lockjaw. Yeah, that would be interesting. See, they didn't really get into exactly who's going to be a part of it. They had a cover.
Cool.
And the biggest thing on the cover, obviously, is Fing Fang Foom.
He's the most well known.
Huge, yeah.
Right, Iron Man.
That as well. Also.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, if you think about it, the Hulk would probably fit in that category.
Yeah.
And from some of the quotes about the thing, they were saying basically it's going to be such a collection that almost every hero is going to have to be involved.
Nice.
To fight them. So it's if you're a fan of like the big monster movies like Godzilla and King Kong and stuff like that, it sounds like this is going to be like right up your alley.
Maybe Sasquatch, right?
Oh yeah, the Wendigo was
Wendigo, right. The Yeti.
The forgotten part of
Alpha Flight.
Incredible Hulk number 181.
First appearance Wolverine. Yeah,
he's completely forgotten. He's on the cover, but
Wendigo. Who?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They completely forget.
Where'd
about
Wendigo?
I
don't know.
But yeah, he's also the forgotten member of Alpha Flight. And when you're the forgotten member of a forgotten team, that's bad.
You're done. Your dishes are done.
But each issue will feature a different creative team as well, so that'll be kind of fun for guys to pop in and have a little fun with this.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. It should be pretty cool. That is starting in January.
Nice.
Now in Detective Comics number 940, which came out this week, they have seemingly killed a very vital part of the Batman family.
You're not going to.
I'm not going to because it did come out this week. Yeah. Good. So I'm not going to venture into spoiler land again, even though I still say Daredevil season 2 has been out long enough. That doesn't count as a spoiler.
You're mayor of Spoilerville. I'm in Spoilerville, and Timmy's the mayor.
That's right. But this came out this week, and I actually haven't read it yet. But I couldn't resist. I need, when they give like a headline like that,
details.
I gotta know.
You gotta know. Yeah.
So I did delve into it. It's going to be interesting what they do. It's may not be all as it seems, but so you do get that kind of a possibility at the end that it might not be the end.
Oh,
so but it is a very vital member, one of my favorite members of the Batman family.
That was vague enough to make me feel like, I gotta know, but then vague enough to make me go, I don't care.
don't you shut your pie hole, man.
I just can't wait till Detective Comics reaches 1,000. That's going to be
Well, Action will reach it first.
Yeah, it's older.
But Detective will be there soon. 60 issues would be
2 years? 3 years? Because it's a monthly.
No, it's twice a month now. So it's 24 issues a year.
Yeah.
So
we're on our way.
Do math that quick.
Yep.
So but go out and pick up Detective Comics 940 if you care. If you don't, you're heartless. SOB.
Touche.
Now,
proceed. Timmy.
DC has also announced the DC Rebirth Holiday Special because, of course,
Run DMC Christmas album.
Oh, that would be awesome. It will launch in December with a 96-page prestige format comic.
They still have prestige?
Yeah,
we were talking about that.
We were talking about that before the show. Does that really count for anything now? Because it used to be prestige format was a big deal because it had the glossy pages and it was thicker. Now they're all glossy.
Yeah, there's no more newsprint.
Yeah. So is prestige format really a thing?
Normal format.
Yeah. Or maybe it's square bound instead of stapled.
Okay.
Maybe that
should be a little more fancy.
Yeah.
Or it has a foil cover. But 96 pages.
That's a big one.
That is a big one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it the solicitation text for it says, "Don't miss a Hanukkah crisis for Huntress, a Flash family Christmas, Wonder Woman crashing John Constantine's hell-blazing pagan party, and more." And in a must-read story, the Simian sleuth Detective Chimp. I don't know.
You just spoiled the death in the Batman family.
Detective Chimp died. But Detective Chimp spreads his own unique brand of holiday cheer. And New York Times best-selling writer Paul Dini crafts a Harley Quinn holiday tale that weaves it all together in the weirdest possible way.
I'm telling you, you just blew the spoiler.
So, hey, they blew it because that was in a solicitation. So. But I've never heard of Detective Chimp.
Kicking the can.
Yeah.
You can't unforget it now.
It's true. That is true. And something else we were talking about, we never realized that Huntress was Jewish.
What earth is that?
Yeah.
What earth is that on? I would love to know.
It'd be interesting to see. I guess there's your diversity. They have to.
Huntress, are you going to go out like that? You're really going to fight crime looking like that?
You'll catch a cold.
You're going to catch you a cold. Dad, it's August. So?
Yeah, so.
I don't make the weather.
That'll be interesting. That'll be coming in December. And Marvel's providing a sequel to a much-beloved Wolverine story, Enemy of the State, with an updated version now with the new Wolverine, Laura Kinney, and Enemy of the State number 2, coming in all-new Wolverine number 13.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Yeah.
The original story saw Wolverine, Logan, killed by the Gorgon, the Hand's deadliest warrior, then resurrected and brainwashed by the Hand to become their ruthless assassin used to kill other heroes, leading to a conflict with S.H.I.E.L.D. I can understand why the conflict would be there.
Yes.
They don't like that.
Tension.
So and I think the weirdest piece of comic rack news, Valiant will be releasing cat cosplay variant covers.
What?
Over 10 of its titles.
To rival like Marvel's hip hop stuff?
Except these are pictures, actual pictures of cats dressed up like Ninjak, Bloodshot.
All right, I think that's gonna win. I'm sorry. I mean, have you seen the little dog who's dressed up as the Ewok walking on
the costumes that have the front legs that look like
totally.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but these look a little odd. These are like
it's like a calendar that you get with cats in a basket and stuff.
These are the uncomfortable Christmas cards that you get from
Aunt Flo.
Aunt Shirley.
No,
yeah.
Aunt Flo is something else.
Crazy.
Yep. You don't get Christmas cards from her.
No.
You get a monthly update.
This is the Christmas cards you get from like the crazy cat lady that lives down the street, and the cat's eyes say, "Please get out of here."
That's why I tell every neighborhood I live in, the crazy cat lady, we're Jewish. Sorry, we're Jewish.
Don't send us that stuff.
And then we'll get 8 cards.
But the good thing is the proceeds from these variant covers, the proceeds will go to the Brooklyn Animal Rescue Coalition. Okay. So at the very least, it's going to a good cause.
I thought maybe it was like mental health. Mental health.
They need a little bit of that.
Or like to the producers of Hoarders.
Yeah. I just love that Brooklyn Animal Rescue Coalition, bark. Oh. Now that's good marketing.
You were
right
on
there.
That one.
That is good marketing.
That's right. I don't know coalition was spelled with a K.
It's a hard C. All right, that wraps up our spin of the comic rag.
You're a hard C.
It was a little short this week.
It was a little squeaky.
Yeah, it was a little squeaky. I need some WD-40. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have our showcase, the part 2 of our 50th anniversary Star Trek showcase. This week, we're going to talk about the Klingons.
Du Chok Badoch.
Where does it get those wonderful toys?
Want to find out all you need to know about the Ninja Troll toys? Head over to NinjaTrollDigicast.com. There you can listen to our latest show as well as find all of our previous episodes. You can also find our minicast, small bite-sized versions of our showcase and exploring the multiverse segments, and find out more about Mike and Tim. And while you're there, click on the subscribe to iTunes button to make sure you never miss an episode of the Ninja Troll. That's all at NinjaTrollDigicast.com.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ninja Troll Digicast proudly presents The Showcase.
All right, now it's time for our showcase segment where we take the Ninja Troll spotlight and shine it on a particular subject. This week we are in the smack dab in the middle of my 3-part tribute.
Epic miniseries,
yes. Tribute to the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. Last week we took a look at the different ships that each show was a part of each show, because it became more of almost like a character on the show, because it was not just where they were, it became part of the lore of the show in each one. So
I'm more of a saucer section guy myself.
That's right. We go to the battle bridge.
The battle bridge.
That was where they went when the saucer disconnected.
Yeah, right. It was like the low rent bridge.
Yeah,
it was much smaller, right?
It was smaller. It wasn't well lit at all. It was all had like a red gel on the light and stuff. So,
that's right.
Yeah,
right.
Dirty as hell. Nobody cleaned up. But this week, speaking of dirty as hell and always hit with a red gel on the light, this week is the Klingons. It's always been like one of my favorite parts of the show. They were by far, as far as I'm concerned, I would put the Klingons top and the Borg just really close underneath as far as villains.
Yeah, like best or like most dangerous?
Best. I always enjoyed in the original series when they became the main
antagonists,
because it was a whole lot easier than making the Romulans each time, because the makeup process was very expensive, so they couldn't have the Romulans on all the time. So that's why the Klingons became the main villain. But I love having them on there, and I love the progression then, because I liked them so much when they progressed to being allies. And you had on Next Generation, when you had a Klingon there every week, I absolutely loved that. And I've said this before, I would like to see a Star Trek TV series specifically based on the Klingons.
That'd be brilliant.
Like as part of their society.
If they just call it Kronos or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Showed them getting off their planet or something. Yeah. Or maybe I'm sure you're going to talk about the ridges versus the not ridges.
Yeah, that's that was the biggest thing. But I've split this kind of into 2 different parts.
Yeah.
The first part being the production development of outside of the storyline, like when they came up with the look of them, and then when they changed the look of them and all this. And then the second part is the storyline history of the Klingon race. So starting off in the production development, the Klingons were actually created by screenwriter Gene L. Kuhn and first appeared in the episode Errand of Mercy, which actually surprised me. That's the Organian episode.
Oh, with the omnipotent Organian being.
And they forced them to make peace. The Organians made them knock it off.
Whoa.
Basically.
Well, they have the ability to.
Exactly, yeah. And that was so even though I've watched, Star Trek thousands of times, it's kind of surprising to me. I felt like the Klingon hostility was more established before they got to the Organians. But that was the first time they had shown up. In that episode,
I'm looking it up. I want to see what these guys look like.
They both wanted the Klingons and the Federation both wanted Organia because it had a strategic value where it was. And so Kirk and Spock beam down to talk to the Organians. A Klingon warship comes into orbit, and so they have to disguise themselves as Organians to
infiltrate,
to hide from the Klingons.
Oh, Kirk and Spock do.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, cool.
And the Klingons then basically they show up and take over, and tell the Organians, "Listen, we're in charge now. We're taking over your planet." And the Organians are just like, "Okay, no problem. Yeah, we'll do whatever you say," because they want peace above all else. And so Kirk and Spock are trying. They basically become terrorists. They start blowing up munitions and stuff like that, and they're trying to get the Organians to go, "Listen, you see what they're doing? They're killing Organian. Like they sabotage the ammo dump and blow it up." So I don't remember which captain. I think it was it wasn't Koloth. It was Kor maybe.
Okay, this is a Klingon captain.
Klingon captain, yeah, who said, "Okay, till I find out who did it, I'm rounding up every hour. I'm rounding up 100 Organians and killing them in the square." Ooh. So that's and Kirk's going, "Don't you see what's happening?" And the Organians, of course, are just like
hippies. Yeah,
no big deal, because to them it's like that's not their true form.
Oh, so they're not right because they're not losing.
They just look like that because Kirk and Spock showed up first.
Right.
They made themselves look like they would be expected to look.
Ah, so if the Klingons arrived first, they would have looked like Klingons, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So
interesting.
And they finally, the Enterprise, when the Klingon ship came in, the Enterprise, beat a retreat. But then they came back. They started fighting in orbit. Kirk and Spock finally, just jumped the Klingons, and they start fighting there. And the Organians finally have enough and go, "Knock it off." And they freeze everybody. The ships can't do anything.
Oh, wow. So they just shut them down with their powers.
They shut them down completely and just basically says, "You're gonna sign this treaty." And so every other mention of the Organian peace treaty, that's where that came from.
Oh, yeah, because that's a constant reference of a historic. That
was what it was. They made them sign it. Basically, it was like an adult finally went, "You kids knock it off." But yeah, that was the episode Errand of Mercy, where they, like I said, the Organian peace treaty was made, and which is mentioned all the way out until. Actually, I think they mentioned it a couple times in TNG.
Really?
Because that was the original.
Maybe with Q around, right? Maybe making reference to.
Yeah. Well, it was the peace treaty before the Khitomer Accords. So that was like when they actually started the war. They talk about the Klingon, the Federation Klingon War. It only actually lasted 4 days before the Organians stopped it. So. But the Klingons themselves were actually named after someone that Gene Roddenberry served with in the LAPD. It was Lieutenant Wilbur Klingon. That's where they got the name from.
What made the connect? Like, what had made him go, "Oh, I used to know this guy who had this great name"?
It was probably something like that. Yeah, he just went, "This will probably work." Yeah. So and there's actually by the way it's spelled. His name is spelled Klingan. So to me, that would be Klingon.
Not Klingon.
And actually, there's one time or several times in the show, somebody pronounced it Klingon.
Ooh.
So that may be where, and actually it says the production crew never quite agreed on Klingon. It was put forth there, probably by Roddenberry.
Yeah.
And nobody came up with something better, so they just stuck with it. So, but except for Gene Kuhn, he actually loved the name and was really pushing for it, and nobody came up with anything else.
It's a great name, and it's always a good part of a joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They were portrayed with bronze, swarthy skin and facial hair suggestive of Asian people, and were physically very similar to humans in the original series. In Next Generation, they were always portrayed as stronger than humans.
Then yeah.
And as a matter of fact, when they were fighting the Borg, Worf and Data were the only ones that could, like, hand to hand,
like get them down,
go to them.
Right.
But we'll explain that in a little bit as well. The poor guys that played the original Klingons, they were given their look by using shoe polish and long, thin mustaches.
Oh, my
So they
God.
basically just put gold shoe polish on them.
Yeah, I'm seeing them, and they're all shiny.
And they all look shiny. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. They were the main antagonists for the Federation during the run of the series, in a big part because of the makeup for the Romulans was cost prohibitive. They were generally made into a future version of the Soviet Union to the Federation's United States.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and actually, in the episode of Private Little War, it was straight out even referenced in the what they called the Bush Wars in Asia, where the United States and the Soviet Union kept giving aid
to the
different
wasn't that
ones.
that episode where they met on that mountaintop?
The hill people and the mountain people were the two factions.
And then they lured them up there, and then they had to make peace. Remembering, or maybe it was a TNG episode.
Yeah, that's been it. This one ended up basically the Klingons were giving weapons to the town people.
Yeah.
So the Federation they didn't like it, but they ended up giving the same to the hill people,
which is Afghanistan.
Which is propagating a war between the two.
Right.
They hated it, but it was what they had to do, because if they didn't help the hill people, they would be overrun by the town people. So, in that episode they actually did reference history to them with the United States and the Soviet Union.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When production started on Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the appearance and behavior of the Klingons was radically changed. To make them more menacing, they were given snaggled and prominent teeth, even way more than they ended up being in Next Generation.
Really?
And the ridged foreheads were way higher. But they were only it was maybe 10, 15 minutes of the motion picture. They were like the first thing when the V'ger probe is coming into our space. They come through the Klingon space first. So you see just a little bit of the Klingons in their ship.
Oh yeah.
It's not a whole lot, but it was enough for people to go, hey, wait a minute, why do the Klingons look like that? So they also defined their language in an alphabet, and were given more elaborate uniforms that were reminiscent of feudal Japanese armor.
Yeah.
Almost like samurai armor.
It's a very iconic uniform.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It looked awesome. They didn't appear in Star Trek 2, but they were the main enemy for Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. There they were slightly redesigned again, making the forehead ridges not as prominent. And they also introduced the badass Klingon knife, the Dak Tak, one that had the little things that would pop out on the side.
That's badass.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that thing. Then when Star Trek The Next Generation came around, we had a Klingon crew member, Worf. And they revised the Klingon culture slightly. Again, it began to be portrayed as a proud warrior-like and a principled race, and they became less of a villain. In the original series, they were pretty much like cast as pretty much like almost like beasts. Like they were very warlike and they were brutal above all else. And I mean, in TNG, they started to show them as a warrior race, of course, but they were driven by honor and
warrior code.
Yeah, exactly.
More imperial.
Yes, absolutely. So for the episode Reunion, effects artist and martial artist Dan Curry used his martial arts background to develop a Klingon weapon called the Batleth. Because he was
big knife,
the big curved.
That's awesome.
That thing is awesome, and that was the thing. He always looked at it, was like, okay, when they have aliens have a fighting style or weapons, they're never practical. So he actually had background in martial arts, and he came up with the fighting style that Klingons use in Star Trek. The big flowing style that they had. He came up with that, and then he came up with that weapon, which again, the Batleth is awesome.
Oh, I know you want one.
I do.
Yeah.
I always have. And the biggest continuity issue with the Klingons has always been the difference in appearance from the original series and the rest of the franchise. This was finally explained, and we'll get into it later. It was finally explained canonically in the Star Trek Enterprise episode Affliction, and then later Divergence. I think it was a two-parter. Divergence was the next one. So it took them, that was 2005, I think it was.
It
took them that long to explain it.
Oh my God.
Because that was the big thing when in Deep Space Nine, when they were going to have the crossover, they were going to go back in time for the
Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah, Trials and Tribulations episode. They were going to go back in time and they were going to see the original series Klingons, and they're going to have to explain it.
That Trouble with Tribbles episode?
Yeah, they're going to have to explain what.
And Worf wore the bandana. I had looked up pictures. Yeah, he was like covering the thing.
Yeah.
Because they would have said something to him like, brother.
Yeah.
What's
and so, that was the big thing. Fans were like, okay, they're going to have to explain it now. And everybody was ready to hear it. And all we got was Worf saying, we don't talk about it to outsiders. Damn it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Come on.
This just in, one small correction. Klingons were in Wrath of Khan. And you give me that face. You want to know where?
Yeah.
They're in the simulator of the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh, yeah.
It was a ship.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually like...
I guess, technically.
People, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Timmy.
You just had to prove me wrong.
Well, because I was like, I remember there being a thing. Because I remember Savek saying something about Klingons.
Don't take prisoners. Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Okay.
And now you remembered.
There you go.
I love to remind you.
All right. Now to the storyline history.
Cool.
First off, the Klingon homeworld is Kronos. It's actually spelled QO''NO', S, but it's pronounced Kronos.
Oh, like in Arabic.
Yeah.
Like like Quran. Yeah, like Kronos. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Cool.
Now, Kahless the Unforgettable founded the Klingon Empire in the 9th century when he killed the tyrant Molar and unified the Klingon people. Kahless has become revered in Klingon society, and the warrior ethos and the warrior caste became more and more dominant in the society from his example. Because their worlds were resource poor, the Klingons had an intense drive for expansion, which brought them into conflict with many other races, including the humans and the Federation. Their first encounter was shown in the first episode of the Star Trek Enterprise, Broken Bow. In the year 2154, the Klingons gained access to the genetic material of human augments, and they tried to use it to genetically engineer themselves.
AKA Khan.
Yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, the test subject's neural pathways started to degrade, and they died in agony. Ooh. One subject had the Lovodian flu, and the augment DNA modified it, and it became a fatal airborne mutagenic plague that spread quickly throughout the Empire. This caused the Klingons to lose their forehead ridges and to look more human. But it also gave them increased strength and reflexes. Although it's not known if all Klingons suffered from it, between 2154 and the 2270s, all Klingons that were encountered did not have forehead ridges. From the 2270s onward, Klingons that were encountered had ridges. Even Kang, Koloth, and Kor, who had previously been seen on the original series, they were seen on Deep Space Nine, and they had forehead ridges again.
So they were restored.
Yes. Yeah. And it was when they came up, they actually, the doctor on Enterprise, Phlox.
Yep.
He and I think a Klingon scientist came up with a cure. It basically kept it from killing them, but it didn't repair. It didn't like give the ridges back. But Phlox said it may not be permanent. It may not perpetuate.
Gotcha.
So that explains that it came back, because when they're first shown on Enterprise, it's what we know as Klingons now.
Yes, with the ridges. With
the ridges and all.
I've got a here it is. They've got the woman strapped down in the, because she's probably going to kill everybody.
Probably, yeah. That's why she's strapped down. Yeah. But, so that explained.
Sorry. And that's the virus.
That's when his forehead ridges are
dissolving. Oh, man. Crazy. Well,
it's pretty twisted.
Glad we worked that out.
Yeah, exactly. So they did, it took them, from the late 60s to 2005.
To work that out.
To actually.
After just switching it.
Yeah.
But do you remember when Phlox caught the virus and he got ridges for a minute?
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember that part now.
He was already messed up enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, by 2223, tensions between the Klingon Empire and the Federation had led to outright hostility, leading to the Battle of Donatu 5 in 2245. They later erupted into the Federation-Klingon War of 2267, which the Organians quickly intervened in and ended after only 4 days. In 2293, a lasting peace was finally reached between the two parties with the signing of the Khitomer Accords. Since then, they have been steadfast allies. The Klingon relationship with the Romulans has been extremely unstable, despite a short-lived alliance and technology exchange. You remember when that was and why it was?
No.
They said that in the original series, when they encountered the Romulans, they're like, oh, they're getting the ships from the Klingons, so they could use the same models, so they wouldn't have to build other models.
That's true. Yeah, right. The original Romulan ships weren't the big warbirds.
No,
they were the little birds of prey. Yeah, the old school.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
And they just painted. They did for.
Didn't they paint wings on the wings, like feathers?
Yeah, because the original they showed one Romulan one time, and it was almost like a saucer with nacelles jammed onto it, but it had a bird of prey painted on it.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
And then after that, anytime you saw a Romulan ship, it looked just like a Klingon ship.
Yeah.
So, hey, they had budget concerns.
It's really bad.
But the Klingons generally regard the Romulans as blood enemies. Klingon society was generally based on a feudal system organized around traditional great houses of noble lineage. The great houses are represented in the Klingon High Council, which is led by a chancellor. The title of emperor, like generations ago, got
wiped out.
Wiped out, basically, yeah. Klingon society leaned heavily on family reputation and honor, and tradition was an integral part of everyday life. Breaking from this was considered an insult to the society, one not easily forgiven. Such an offense brought shame to the family name for generations and could lead to discommendation, which is where the High Council officially strips a Klingon of his personal and family honor. And it's not cool that it's happening, because it's happening to Worf.
Right.
But the way they do that, the council is standing around. They rip the symbol of office from you, and then the entire High Council turns their back on you, and you have to walk out in shame. It's the walk of shame.
Oh.
It was really cool the way they do it. But again, it wasn't cool because it was happening to Worf. But,
yeah.
But it was The rituals are a huge part of society. Most importantly, the rite of secession, where a future leader of the empire had to defeat his enemies to prove worthy to be the leader. Before this could even start, the Sonchi ceremony had to be performed to confirm the death of the previous leader. So they had a ceremony for everything. This guy's dead. We have to have this ceremony to confirm he's dead. Then we have the rite of secession to decide who's going to be the new leader. And essentially, like the guys that were like leading candidates fought for it.
Yeah.
Or they could, I think they could choose a champion.
Oh, like a trial
maybe,
by
or something
combat.
like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was definitely trial by combat. Also, the rite of ascension, where a Klingon had to go through to be recognized as a full adult. They actually, I think they did that on TNG for Worf, because he grew up on Earth and he never went through that.
Oh, and he had to go train.
Wesley did it for him in the holodeck.
Oh, right.
He researched it and came up with got it as close as he could for Worf to go through it.
Nice.
And they basically beat the living crap out of you. You kind of like go through a gauntlet.
The digital crap out of
Yeah,
it.
they beat the digital crap out of you. Yeah. So the Klingons were not a religious people as such. They did believe that deities did exist at one time. However, Klingon warriors supposedly slew their gods,
Killed them.
as they considered them to be more trouble than they were worth. That is awesome. Now, when a Klingon dies, his spirit is considered to have exited his body, and Klingons would traditionally howl into the sky as a warning to the afterlife that a Klingon warrior was about to arrive. So the people that were around would gather around. They would gather around and like howl up into the sky.
Nice.
One that died honorably supposedly went to Tovakor, where Kahless was said to be waiting for them. The Klingons did have a civil war, in part initiated by Worf. When Chancellor Kempek died, Gowron and Duras became the leading candidates for leadership. During the rite of secession, Duras tried to kill Gowron, but was in turn killed by Worf, which ensured Gowron's election as Chancellor.
Oh, wow.
Gowron also possessed one of the greatest sets of crazy eyes in cinematic history.
Oh my God!
You got to look him up because he definitely had the crazy eyes.
How do you spell Gowron?
Gowron. Yeah, he definitely had some crazy eyes.
The top thing is Gowron eyes.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, he did. I know this guy.
Yeah. He was actually a big part. He was the Chancellor all the way through the Klingon Civil War and the Dominion War. So for the majority of Next Generation
and DS9,
he was the Chancellor. So he showed up a lot, but he was a politician. He was a schemer.
Yeah.
So
not a warrior.
Yeah, and that was the thing. He was the whole thing when Kempek died. Some people thought Gowron had poisoned him. Some people thought Duras had poisoned him. But they were pretty sure somebody had poisoned him. It was one of the two of them.
Since we're talking about this, I have to post this on the Facebook page, but somebody found a cat that looks just like Gowron.
Like Gowron?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
You can see it.
Oh, good Lord. That's actually pretty good.
It's pretty spot on. So this is going on the Facebook page,
awesome.
Folks. We're gonna make your day here.
That's awesome. Okay, so during the rite of succession, Duras tried to kill Gowron, but Duras was actually killed by Worf, which ensured that Gowron was elected. After his election, Duras' sisters, Lursa and Betor, challenged Gowron's office with Duras' illegitimate son, which split the loyalty in the council. With the help of the Federation, Duras' family ties to the Romulans were exposed, and Gowron was victorious. In appreciation of this, he reinstated the House of Moog. Oh. So Worf's family was reinstated.
Yeah, that's great.
And his brother, which actually is something I had completely forgotten, but while I was doing research for this,
right,
Worf's brother Kern was actually played by Tony Todd, and I'd completely forgotten that.
Who now is
Zoom, the voice of Zoom.
Right.
He also played Candyman, and anytime you need a creepy voice, There's your guy.
And then we found out later he was on the show a couple other times.
Yeah, he played a couple other. Yeah, he played Sisko's Jake Sisko
grown up
as an older.
And then I think once on Enterprise is like a very made up alien, which you would have never known.
You would never caught that it was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was one of those when I was thinking, his brother Kern, and I Googled it so I could see a picture of Kern, and it was like when I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, that's Tony Todd. I'd completely forgotten it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he showed up actually. Worf didn't know he had a brother, and he showed up as part of the officer exchange.
Right. You said Riker.
Yeah, Riker had gone to be the first officer on a Klingon ship for a while. Then later, they have a Klingon officer come to serve on the Enterprise, and he basically he's making the crew's life a living hell.
He was so moody and
he was making them do like 15 different drills every hour, and it was bad. It was really bad, and he was just a jerk to everybody except Worf. He was unfailingly polite to Worf, and it was starting to piss Worf off because he was like,
he would see him.
Yeah, you're not doing this to me. And so to him it was an insult because he's like, okay, you're saying I'm not a Klingon, and you're treating me like a human. So it was, and they finally he called him on it, and then he revealed to him that it was his brother. So it was a good episode. I remember that. It was a good episode.
That's cool.
Now in 2369, a clone of Kahless the Unforgettable was created, and Gowron became worried that his existence would plunge the Klingon Empire into another civil war. Actually, what he was worried about is that Kahless would try to take control.
That sounds more like it.
Gowron was a schemer. So to prevent this, Gowron agreed to support Kahless as the spiritual leader of the people and to use the title of Emperor, but that title had been defunct for generations. So essentially, it would then just become like a figurehead kind of title.
Like a Queen of England. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gowron would actually maintain control of the council and as a prime
minister type of.
Yeah, he was still the chancellor, and he controlled the council and the government basically. And Kahless was just the spiritual leader. Now, in 2372, Gowron, who was being advised by a changeling impersonating General Martok, invaded Cardassia Prime and left the Khitomer Accords. Well, actually, he invaded Cardassia Prime, and the Federation went, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And he went, "Screw you, I'm out of here." So he just basically voided the Khitomer Accords. So for a while, they didn't like break out into hostilities, but they were technically
in civil war.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or not civil war, but like the Federation and the Klingons didn't have
a peace
treaty anymore. Yeah.
Yep.
It was later found out that Martok was a changeling, and he was quickly killed by the Klingons. They find that out. It's not lasting long. The Klingons later joined with the Federation in the Dominion War, and the real Martok was rescued from captivity. During the process of the war, Martok became increasingly popular through his bravery, and was seen by some as the savior of the Klingon people. Knowing this and fearing him growing too powerful, Gowron started to send him against impossible odds, so he would have to retreat each time, making him lose face. Martok, though, refused to challenge Gowron even after such dishonorable actions. However, Worf did challenge him and defeated him in one-on-one combat, killing him. So, by tradition, Worf then became Chancellor.
Oh my God.
But he immediately transferred leadership to Martok, saying he could be a better chancellor or leader for the Klingon people than he could.
Well, then he would have been on DS9.
Exactly. And despite Gowron's actions, Worf still performed the Klingon death ritual, acknowledging him as a warrior, even though he was doing what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was always putting his own political, just like with what he was doing with Martok, he was sending Klingons to die needlessly. Although they're warriors and that's what they're for.
Right.
It's needlessly, and you
don't waste your troops.
Exactly. And you're doing it for your own political ends.
Right.
And that's why they pushed back against it. So I thought it was interesting though that Worf was the Chancellor at that point. He defeated the Chancellor in combat,
single combat,
and killed him.
Yeah.
So he's the leader of the Klingon Empire at that point.
Damn.
So
what would that have been like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did. I think at the end of the series, didn't he? He went to be.
He was an ambassador to the Federation.
Yeah, Martok made him ambassador to the Federation, I believe.
That's what I thought. And then he wore a different uniform.
Yeah.
For a while. No more Starfleet. He had like his, but
yeah,
still
he
his.
Actually had the ambassador.
Still his Boy Scout sash.
Yes. Yeah. He could put his merit badges on.
That's right.
So
this one's for archery.
Yeah.
This one's for phaser bank reloading.
That's right. All right. So that is a look at the Klingon people. Like I said, I've always been fascinated with them. So it was fun to sit down and go through all that. And there's, you can dig even deeper because it's been fleshed out in different, most everything I talked about was the TV series or the movies.
Yeah.
But if you dive into
like the IDW
the video games and
the
the books and everything that's come out, there's been a lot of stuff because a lot of people are really fascinated by the Klingons. So there's been a lot of stuff out there. So, but yeah, I've always been fascinated with them. So it was fun to dive into that stuff. And I still say that, there should be a Klingon TV show. So.
Yeah, well, there was a couple. Yeah, there was a couple of games. I'm
Yeah.
just looking back here. Back in the '90s, there was a bunch of Star Trek Klingon.
Yeah,
which was where you pretty much played the role of Spock, a young Klingon about to undergo the rite of ascension.
Cool.
Which was pretty cool.
And it was I don't remember the name of this, but it was a TNG episode where Worf found the people at Khitomer didn't actually die. They were taken by the Romulans to a planet, and they had basically they had become farmers and lived there.
What?
They lived in peace with the Romulans, and
Wow.
somehow Worf, and it's been a long time since I've seen the episode, but Worf ended up there, and all the Klingons, to his eyes, were not Klingons anymore. They had ceased to be warriors, and they weren't teaching the children how to be warriors anymore. And so Worf had to they were using their weapons as like children's toys, like instead of throwing a spear and killing a hog or whatever, they were like rolling a loop and they were throwing the spear through there, and he was like, don't do that. You're showing disrespect to that weapon unless you use it properly.
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, it was I don't remember the name of the episode, but it was really good because he was showing this kid, he was awakening the Klingon spirit in this little kid.
And then he started to emerge.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would love to know what this one is.
Yeah. And he took him out hunting, and like, so he made his first kill, and he walks into like the this is like the stuffiest
here it is.
Which one? What's the name of the
episode?
Here it
is. Sins of the Father.
Sins of the Father. Okay.
Yeah. A small number of Klingons, including Lokor and Garal, were captured by the Romulans after the attack. They were interrogated for 3 months following the Romulans to the stage for prisoner territory. Refused to accept the Klingons, would allow themselves to be captured, and they would negotiate with the Romulans. So they would have executed the prisoner, the Romulans, but T'Koth argued successfully that they should be allowed to live. The Romulans placed the Klingons on a remote camp on Kayara 4 under T'Koth's charge. The prisoners and their guards remained, raising families together, forgotten by the outside world, until they were discovered by Worf in 2369. And then several of the children, including Tak, was the little boy. He left Carrier with Worf, although to preserve their family honor, Worf did not disclose their true origins.
Yeah, he told him as he was leaving, he told him, listen, you're as far as the rest of the universe knows, you're dead. Just like we already thought you were.
So just stay that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, it was a very
That's
good
cool.
episode because the kid, when he makes his first kill, he brings it into, like I said, the stuffiest of like old people having dinner at this big long, and everybody's all happy, and all of a sudden he comes in and throws this skinned boar
thing
that he just killed, and he's so proud of himself, and everybody's like, oh heavens. I mean, it's just it's so
to see
awesome.
Klingons acting
Exactly,
all ninny like. Oh man.
Yeah, it was a really good episode because, like I said, he was awakening. He was showing this kid what it meant to be a Klingon.
Wow.
And he was awakening that warrior spirit in him, in the kid.
Oh man, that sounds
really cool.
Great episode.
Yeah, it was a really good episode. So, but that is going to wrap up our showcase on the Klingons. Coming up next week, part 3 of the 50th anniversary Star Trek special.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
I think I'm going to do. We had talked about this, but I think I am going to do the quadrants. Take a look at the different quadrants, because the Alpha quadrant is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
The Beta quadrant, I believe, is the Klingons and the Romulans.
Yeah, let me look up real quick. Let's see, Star Trek quadrants. Yeah, so we are Alpha. That is very true. And then, yeah, here we go. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Sorry, there's a lot in here.
Yeah.
Federation of Planets, like Bajor, Ferengi Alliance is in there. Unity 2, part of the Breen Confederacy.
Oh yeah.
The Tolian Assembly. The Patriarchal Order of Talaria, the Farmer Cardassian Union. Wow. Okay, and then in Beta, we have the Klingons, the Romulans, the Gorn, and the Lyran tribes.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then of course, the Gamma quadrant is where
the Dominion.
And that's where the wormhole goes to.
Right. It goes from Bajor in the Alpha to Starbase Gamma 1.
Yeah.
On the other side of space.
So
and
that's where, like you said, the Dominion and the Jem'Hadar
that's right.
are over there, and then the Delta quadrant is where Voyager ended up.
That's where the Borg is.
And that's where the Borg are.
And it's a ton of so the most unexplored is the Gamma and the Delta. They have the most unknown space.
So we'll have an in-depth look into all those, and we can at the same time look at the different races that they've ran into.
Cool.
That way we can look at the Andorians are here. I always loved the Andorians because they had the little antenna on their heads.
Oh yeah,
cool looking.
Yeah, the blue people.
Yeah, the blue people. Yeah, exactly. So look at that and what's in the Federation space and how it actually lays out against where the Klingons and the Romulans are and all that. So yeah, I think we'll do that next week.
That's exciting.
And that should wrap up our 3-part series of the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. So
fantastic.
But before we get out of here, we want to give you our picks of the week. Mine is Batman number 6, which actually just came out. I think it came out last week. It was the epilogue to the I Am Gotham story that's been going since the beginning of the new series. Batman Volume 3 now.
With those 2 new heroes.
Yeah, the 2 new heroes, Gotham and Gotham Girl.
Yeah. Which sounds so corny.
It does.
They're great characters, right?
Yeah. They had gone and gotten their powers. They never really said how they got their powers.
That's going to be cool when they reveal that.
But it must have been almost like a drug, because they found out that every time they used their powers, they were giving up life. So
that's how Superman died. New 52 Superman.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So anytime they used powers, it meant they were going to live less.
Wow.
And they were manipulated by Hugo Strange and the Psycho Pirate, and Gotham died. He has died. So Gotham Girl is left by herself.
You said that she got damaged, corrupted, right?
Yeah, she's damaged. That's the best word to use. She is damaged by a Psycho Pirate.
Oof.
And she shaves her head, and then she's the entire time she's talking to her brother, who is dead now.
Oh man.
Just not like talking to his body, but just
speaking aloud.
Aloud to him the whole time. And Batman realizes he has to help her, and he ends up revealing himself that he is Bruce Wayne and telling her his story and saying, I know what you're going through. I know what this is like.
Wow.
And she ends up hugging him, and it's the last panel is very close up on her face, and there's a tear coming down her face, and she says, I just miss him so much. And it's like ones like that is like, okay, yeah, it's really when comics are, all out battle and they're, two-fisted justice, wham bang, they're really good. But when they can do like that and slow everything down and get you right into the visceral moment and the emotion of that moment, is so good and has such an impact. And it's just Tom King is the writer, I'm pretty sure, and I do not remember the artist, but both of them knocked it out of the park.
Awesome.
So if you haven't been reading the Batman series, go out and get Batman 6. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to know the story. They give you enough info in there to understand what's going on. But I just love the emotional punch that you get from that issue.
And I know you love that so much, but after looking at that, I kind of made a realization, and I want to know if you concur. But okay, but look at Space Ghost with Jan and Jace.
Yeah.
I read something about how Alex Toth had to make Space Ghost look like Batman. I wonder if this is the full circle.
It may be, yes. It might be, yeah. But that is my pick for this week, Batman number 6.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go into a weird area because I'm just sort of venturing into the space, but anime. Okay.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to recommend a show that actually we have a foreign exchange student staying with us until January. His name is Sebastian. He's from Germany. And he said, you got to watch the show One Piece. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. So you can go to One Piece Official. It's PIECE.com.
Okay.
And it's about pirates. Okay. Yeah. But it's a wacky anime where everybody's crazy and has superpowers and everything. So One Piece is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Yuriko Oda. And it's originally a comic that then is now a TV show. And it's got something like it's aired 756 episodes since 1999.
That's nuts.
And it's still going strong. And it stars this guy named Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, a young man whose body gained the properties of rubber after unintentionally eating something called a devil fruit, which if you get a hold of these and you can, you get powers. But you lose the ability to swim.
Okay.
This is the world of anime, Timmy. Just bear with me. So Luffy explores the Grand Line, which is the sort of mountain range that divides the old and the new world, in search of the world's ultimate treasure, known as One Piece, in order to become the next king of the pirates. It's a cool show.
Wow.
Yeah.
700 episodes?
Can you believe that?
That's crazy. Wow.
It's unbelievable. And they're good. They're good shows.
That's cool.
They're pretty much quality. So that is my recommendation.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Ninja Troll Digicast. Remember, for all the latest news from all around geek culture, make sure you follow us on social media, facebook.com/Ninja Troll Digicast.
We're on Twitter at Ninja Troll Show.
And Instagram at Ninja Troll Digicast.
We're on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Ninja Troll Digicast.
And you can always visit us at NinjaTrollDigicast.com. And while you're there, click on the subscribe to iTunes button to get the Ninja Troll on iTunes. Make sure you join us next week. Same Ninja time, same Ninja channel.
You've been listening to the Ninja Troll Digicast. Tune in next time when you'll hear Mike say,
"Not what's the matter, what's the antimatter?"
This is the Ninja Troll Digicast, the defenders of all things geek culture.
Don't go ninja, nobody don't need ninja.